First of all, welcome, Ashdin. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this session for us today. We are so glad to have you on our weekly wellness webinars that we do for our clients, partner organizations, and their associates as well. So, thank you so much. And thank you so much, audience, for joining in today. We are going to learn a lot about habit making and how it can have a larger effect in life. And, that's what we're going to learn from Ashton today on different areas as well. Right. So let me start off with introducing Ashton to all the participants today, and then he'll take over from me. So Ashdin Doctor is a podcaster, YouTuber, and the founder of Awesome 180, a habit coaching program. The Awesome 180 program focuses on the following fundamental behaviors, which are sleep, sleep quality, nutrition, movement, de-stressing, hydration, and breathing. So these form the foundation of creating awesome lives. So Awesome 180 is a labor of love born out of his insatiable thirst for knowledge and a desire to share and change lives. It is for people who feel that their life is in a rut, nothing is changing or going according to the plan. For those who feel that they are not living up to their full abilities, for those clawing up their way in life but find themselves sliding back down. So, Asden believes that these changes cannot take place till once foundational fundamentals that we've just spoken about are taken care of. So, thank you once again, Ashton. Over to you now.
Thank you so much. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right. So now, since this is a very strange format, normally we're used to seeing people in person and I can see your reactions. I'm going to ask you to do something. I'm going to ask you to click on that chat box and drop in a hi, hello. I want to know how many of y'all are out there because that chat box is going to be our way of communicating with each other. All right. Fantastic. Welcome, 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 welcome. You loving it. So many people joining it. Fantastic. All right, guys, most important thing is that this is your workshop. Okay. So this is not me coming here and giving one bhashan because then I could have just recorded it and sent it to you all. So we have to have our connection. We have to talk through this. And the best way of doing this is through the chat. And what I want you to do is if you have the ability to get a notebook, get a pen, get a paper, and start actually using what we're saying so that you can sit down and actually make it implementable because it's so easy to get gyan, it's so easy to get information and knowledge, but it's so hard to put it into practice. And today's session is all about putting it into practice. All right, so with me, hope you guys got your tea, coffee, or whatever it is that you all prefer having, and we're going to start. What are you all? Are you all tea drinkers or coffee drinkers? Let me know. What are you all? Tea drinkers, coffee drinkers? I want to know which caffeine of choice is predominant. Tea, coffee, coffee. Anyone? Both? Any like caffeine addicts? They're like, I want everything. Fantastic. All right. Super promotes like both. I want it all. All right. So let me first start by saying, wow, Red Bull. That is, you are next level, Rakesh. Next level. Okay. So let's start by understanding what a habit coach is and why are we doing this and, where is this coming from? So, like I said, I'm a habit coach. I'm not a life coach. I'm not any of that because I believe that we have to have things that are actionable and implementable as soon as we hear them. Life coaching sometimes takes a while to do, but this is stuff that I want you to start doing from today onwards, from tomorrow onwards. All right. How did it start? Let me quickly tell you a little bit about my journey because normally when I say this, people say, that sounds very familiar to what's happening to me also. Maybe I can, I see similarities between my life and what Ashton went through. So maybe that's a good way of starting out. So right in the beginning, about probably 15 years ago, I was in a very, very different place altogether. Okay. So I come from a family business background. That means that my parents started the company. I was going to inherit the company. And as a result, you always have this little chip on your shoulder whenever it comes to stuff like that, right? You are constantly feeling you're judged. You're constantly feeling the stress of everyone looking at you. Whether they are or not, in our own minds, we think about it and we dream this up. What is fascinating is that I was always raised in this type A environment. You know what type A environment is? I have to win everything. I have to work hard. I have to, like, grind till my fingers turn to dust. Almost like that. That was the way that my mentality had been. And if I didn't win, what was the point of taking part in something like this? And that was the mentality in which the way I worked. I would start my mornings at 7 o'clock, finish them at 11 o'clock, work, 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 work. And at the same point of time, I was in a very unhealthy relationship. So it was stressful at work, come home, that's stressful at home. And at that point of time, the concept of health did not appear in my life at all. You know, the way that I was seeing it is, if I was earning so much money, I had the right to be able to afford the most expensive food so that I could eat. And all the expensive food is normally not necessarily good for you, right? So I like my favorite was, I used to have our butter chicken and jeera rice almost every day because I could. And those concepts of health never existed, right? So as a result, I became overweight. I was stressed. I used to sleep for 4 hours a night. And one fine day, I collapsed on the floor. Now, if you collapse on the floor at the age of 31, 32, that is a very, very scary thing to happen, right? I was getting ready for work, and typically, and I'm sure you all will know this, I had a presentation to do. And how do we finish our presentations? Last minute panic, right? Last minute finish everything. So I don't think I'd slept for 48 hours, all right? Or maybe I had like 2 hours of sleep in 2 days. And I would just had my bath, I was putting on my shirt, getting ready, and my entire shirt got drenched in sweat. And slowly I could feel my heart doing tup, 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 tup. And it was almost as if it wanted to jump out of my chest. And I collapsed on the floor. Now at 31, 32, that is a very, very scary thing. And I'm lying there and I can clearly remember in my head, there were two thoughts that were running. One was, this is I'm scary. Ashton, you're going to die. And then there was another thought that ran saying that, congratulations, you worked so hard that you actually had a breakdown. That is fantastic. Good job. And isn't it crazy how our minds work? That something so scary is happening, and both these thoughts are existing at the same time. So what I did was, being the typical type A person, I said that, I can't continue life like this. Something has to change. I'm sure some of you all have also experienced something like this, right? When you all had, especially during the last couple of years, some of you all might have gone through a burnout. If you all do, please let me know. And I can help you with a few habits for those as well, right? Gone through burnouts, gone through times when you just could not get out of bed. You didn't know what was happening to you health wise. And it's all these cumulative things that are taking place in our life when it happens. So being the typical type A person, I said, I am going to do happening right now. I'm so glad that you're here for our session. Hopefully this is going to help you out. So please, please, please stick around. So, like when I was going through this, I gave myself a goal. I said, like, what is the hardest goal I can give myself? Because, I had a nice big paunch and all. I said, I will get a six pack, right? I told, type A person, little mad. I said, I will get a six pack, abs. And this is, I'm talking about now close to about 10 years ago, right? And I tried doing every single of the big workouts then, like P90X, insanity workout, anything that had this, this whole go hard, go home kind of attitude, tried doing that. I did the hardest diets that I could, GM, high carb, low carb, everything. And then I realized that nothing was changing because I could not continue it. How many of us here have started a diet and have probably failed in the first 2 days? Or have never actually completed a diet, right? Isn't it crazy how we start something with full josh and then it suddenly fizzles out, right? So the whole idea is, if we understand about habits, we don't have this happening to us. The starting with full josh, full energy, and then it fizzles out. This, what Dharam said right now, not started knowing I will not continue, is actually why I started habit coaching. Let me explain. So what happened was that I slowly realized that this hardcore approach is not working. And I learned a few tricks, which I'm going to share with you. Like, I realized that if I'm so unhealthy, I can't do a 30-minute or 1 hour workout. I can do 4 minutes of working out. So I started 4 minutes of working out. I realized that I could not control all my food. So I said, I will do intermittent fasting for 14 hours and then 16 hours. So I realized how to turn it into small, small things that were achievable. And those then had ripples throughout the rest of my life. And that's the whole idea of how these changes and these habits move through our life, almost like ripples on a lake. So now, after a year, six pack happened. High five. Yes. All my friends would see me at weddings and parties and stuff like this. And then, typically what is the conversation? Wow, Ashton, you've lost so much weight. Tell me now, give me like few tips. Give me 2 tips on how you managed to do it. And I would tell them. And then they would look at me and politely listen for exactly 30 seconds. After which they would say, Ashton, Baba, I can't do what you did. I don't have your determination. I don't have your self-discipline. I don't have your motivation. And that's when it struck me. I was like, if these people are not going to start, how are they going to finish? If they feel that they don't have the ability to finish, they're never starting. So I said, how can I help people realize that they can make a change and make it so easy to do so that they can continue for the rest of their life? And that is where the whole idea of habit coaching came out. So I know there are lots of people out here, just like Dharam, who are thinking that they cannot make a change in their life. They've trailed and they've failed and they've failed and they're given up. This is for the frustrated in us, right? People who are frustrated with trying to make this change. And it's important for us to realize that there is actually a whole system that we can follow. And the idea of this workshop is to teach you that system so that you don't feel overwhelmed, so that you don't rely on motivation. In fact, one of my wars is on this word called motivation. Okay, because as soon as we have motivation is like a matchstick. You light a matchstick and it fizzles bright for about a few seconds and then it goes away. But you can't cook a meal using a matchstick, right? You need something else to cook the meal. Like you light the stove and the stove continues to burn and cook the meal. And that is exactly how we have to think about whatever change we want to bring into our life. Everyone with me so far? Right? Okay. So my favorite punchline is to say motivation sucks. All right. I'll be super happy if you'll type motivation sucks right now, because I want you all to never use that word again whenever you all want to try and make a change. I'm not motivated. No, 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 no. Motivation sucks. Oh, I'm never going to use motivation again. Okay. I'm going to use other things. And what we use whenever we want to make a change, love it. Like, motivation sucks. Yes. Yes. All right. Whenever you want to make a change, instead of the word motivation, we change it to something else. We use a word called intention. Okay. What do we use? We use the word intention. All right. Whenever I say what do we use, and if you want to just remember it, type it down so that it's in your finger memory, right? Intention. Now, when we look at motivation, we get inspired by something and then we get motivated. Ashton got 6 packs. I'm going to get motivated to do it, right? So I was inspired, and then intention is very personal. Intention is something that comes from inside. It is not something that is fueled from the outside. So it is something that we desperately inside desire, and hence we want to make that change. Okay. So let me ask you all a question right now. All right. What are things in your life right now that you all have been trying to change? Right? What are the things in your life that you've been wanting to change, but you'll have been failing at? What are the things that you're hoping you can actually make a change in, but frustration has set in, something has happened, and you haven't been able to do something so far? Let me know in the comments. So like, fantastic, mobile addiction is something. Waking up at 5, lovely. Eating habits, exercising, to get up early in the morning. Shiva, if you can quickly take notes of these things so that we can also deep dive into them a little later. Family, lifestyle, sleep early, exercise, lovely. Reducing weight, big one. Discipline, weight loss. It's interesting. Often we say weight loss, but we don't know why we want to lose weight. The intention is not clear. So I have a exercise for you that we're going to do. And what I want you to do is I want you to use your pen and paper, and I will give you all some time to actually physically do this. It's called the 3 Why method. 3 Whys. Okay. WHY. Whatever you want to do. Say you want to learn yoga. Okay. Now, this is an example from one of my clients that I love giving because it's so pertinent. So she wanted to learn yoga. So I asked her, why do you want to learn yoga? I want to learn yoga so that I can become more flexible. All right, fantastic. So that was the first answer to the why. The second why, I said, why do you want to become more flexible? And she said, I want to become more flexible so that I can sit on the ground. I said, interesting. Why do you want to be able to sit on the ground? This was my third question. And she said, so that I can play with my child. So that I can play with my child. Now just think about that. Imagine that intention for yoga versus I want to do yoga because I got new yoga pants. Or I want to do yoga because my neighbor is going for yoga. Right? Do you see the power of creating that intention? Now, every time she does not do her yoga in her head, she's saying, I won't be able to play with my child. And that is such a powerful way of making sure that you stick to something that you start. Okay. So now, all of y'all who have written things down, or anyone here who has an idea of what they want to do, what you all can do is do this 3 why method. All right. Sometimes you might not get to second why, sometimes you might not get to the third why also. So for example, I want to start running a marathon. Why you want to start running a marathon? I want to start running a marathon because my neighbor is doing it. So why do you want to do it because your neighbor is doing it? No, it'll be fun. No, together we'll go. I was like, you realize that that is a lousy intention. What is the point? You got new shoes, that's why you want to run the marathon. So you realize that something has to change. You have to find something that is very, very deep inside you. And that intention is what I want. Now, we're going to actually do this intention setting right now. Okay. So choose something that you want to change in your life. Okay. And I want you to write down the whys for this. So if you can, and then what we will do is we will ask one of you all to share it with us. And I can then help you on tweaking that why. If you like, you can raise your hand, and then we will unmute you. We can put your video on and you can share the ways that you come through the 3 whys, and then we can get there. So I'm going to give us 3 minutes to do this right now. All right. I'm going to sit quiet. Just sit down and write what it is that you want as your intention. Remember, go deep. Find something emotional that you can connect with. One and a half minutes. If anyone's done and wants to share with us, you can raise your hand, and Shiva is going to let you in. And if no one
Ashdin,
raises their hand, then Shiva, you have to raise your hand, huh?
sure, I'll do that. I'm ready with my 3 whys. Ashdin, can you change your chat setting to everyone? I think it's just going to host and panelists.
Oh, damn. Okay. So the whole idea is that you don't have to force fit the intention at all. You have to discover it. Like peeling away the layers, like how we normally talk about peeling the layers of an onion. It is exactly like that. Sometimes you might want to make a change and you can't, for the life of you, think about why you want to do it. That means that don't do it, because there are enough other things that you will actually find a strong enough why for. Most of the times we suffer because we are only force fitting a reason for doing something, or for trying to force fit a habit into our life. So if you don't have something that is, really, really strong, don't worry about it. Okay. Anyone wants to share? Anyone wants to put their hands up? Anyone wants to ask? Come on, come on, come on. Jaldi, 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 jaldi,
Yeah,
jaldi. We have lots
I
to do.
think we have a raised hand.
Oh,
Ashdin, I'm moving
perfect.
them to the panel. Yeah.
Yes.
Kritika Jain, you can unmute yourself and interact now. Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah. Hi,
Kritika.
everyone. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too.
All right. So what's your intention?
Okay, being organized.
Okay.
That is the most important thing, that I see. I try to do every time, but I always fail.
All right. And why do you want to be organized?
Because it will help me in planning my day better. My
Okay.
day, like I would be able to play with my son. I would be able to, organize my work area, plan it better.
Fantastic. And why do you want to organize your day better? Why do you want to play with your son?
Because it will help me, it will aid in achieving my goals, and I would be able to spend, quality time with my son and my family.
Lovely. So Kritika, that last one, I want you to go a little deeper. That was still a
Mm-hmm.
little more surface.
Mm-hmm.
What is that feeling that you're going to get at the end of actually having an organized day?
I will I will feel accomplished, that what the feeling of accomplishment, what I have achieved in a day, what I am able to do it, in a day.
Correct.
That
Absolutely.
feeling of being accomplished will be there for sure.
So now you've understood that the feeling of accomplishment, of like feeling that a day was worth it,
Hmm.
comes from you organizing it. That
Yeah.
means if you did not organize it, you will automatically know that the day is not going to feel worth it. You see the
Right.
power of now intention setting?
Yes.
So it
Yes.
went from just organization to feeling that you're making the most of each day that you're alive.
Right.
That is the power that and fantastic. You did this spot on. Superb.
Thank
We
you.
need we need like sound effects here in Zoom and clapping and all. I think we have. Kritika, fantastic. All
Thank you
right.
so
Thank you for
much.
sharing. Thank you. Sayan,
Hello,
hi.
can you hear me?
I can. I can.
Okay, okay. So I want to do trading. I
Okay.
want to become an expert in trading.
Hmm.
And first of all, why I want to do trading is obviously
Hmm.
earn money for myself and be self-employed. And why I want to be self-employed is that I can always be a master of my time, and
Hmm.
I don't have to commit somewhere. And also, I can help my parents with the monetary problems. And why I want to do this is that my father is quite aged, and he wants to take early retirement. So I want to help them in that.
Okay. So now it was Sayan, your whys, the two things that you have to edit. One is there were too many ands and ands and ands. I want to do this so that I can do this and do this and do this. You understood, right? The second why has so many ands in it, what you've
Yeah,
written,
yeah, yeah.
right? It has to be one clear thing. Okay. So the clarity is important. And then the last why, you need to find something that is emotional to you. So even your father retirement is not emotional to you, it is still a logical thing. So what I would do is I want you to find something a little bit more personal to you. Like for example, like your first why was so that so I can master my time. That would
Yeah.
still be more personal than the retirement part.
All right, all right,
Hmm?
all right.
So just work this a little bit, but you're almost there.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, Sayan.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
All right, Suresh.
Yeah, hi. Actually, I am looking for better sleep.
Okay.
Better sleep is I have three whys here. Why I want good, better, and quality sleep. Because if I actually I'm looking for that only. I'm practicing it also.
Okay.
I want to go to sleep early. This
Hmm.
is the first one. I
Okay.
was wishing to do, but every day it is.
Don't
Postpone
worry
like
about the but.
night
Just
11
just focus on the
11
whys
o'clock
right now. Don't
11
don't worry
yeah
about the but.
okay
Just why.
yeah
So why do you
so
want to sleep at early?
early because
Hmm.
I can wake up early, I can start my day early, and I can be more productive throughout the day, whatever activities I am doing.
Correct. So now,
So now
Suresh, that is
also
still a very logical one.
yeah
Okay, I want you to bring it to an emotion. So so that I can still have a productive day is a logical one. So that I'm in control of my morning is an emotional one. Do you understand
okay.
the difference?
Yeah
So I can have a fantastic day because I start early is an emotion one. In fact, we will do a lot of these habits as well. How to start your day early, how to start your day well. So fantastic. So I want you to bring it down to an emotion, not just stay at a logic.
yeah emotion is like if I wake up early, my mind will be full, it will have full positive vibrations and all, and I can maintain good relationship also with whomever I have, like family members and relatives and all.
Absolutely.
So
Now you've understood it. Now
yeah.
you've hit the head, the nail on
And
the
one
head.
more thing,
Hmm.
whatever I have now also I'm doing good with all these
Hmm.
things, but I want to do much more better.
Hmm.
So I am focusing on that.
Fantastic. Suresh, in
Earlier
fact,
I
in the
was
Q&A
not.
session that we'll have, you can ask me what it is that we can do to improve your sleep if you've
Yeah,
not
correct.
covered it so far. Hmm?
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
sure.
Perfect. Shiva, we will continue with this. So, Pankaj, I know
Sure.
you've raised your hand, but we will go to the next one and then see if there is something that we can add back to it. Okay. So, let's continue with the next stage.
Sure.
All right. Fantastic, guys. That was superb. I hope you all got value from understanding how everyone else is thinking. The best way of learning is to learn from each other. So, I think that is a fantastic way of starting. All right. So, the next thing that we can do is Once you have your intention, what you have to do is you have to now start the process of creating a habit. So, what is a habit? Let me quickly tell you what a habit is. I define a habit, and this is different from Oxford and the dictionaries. I define a habit as any action or thought that we repeat at a fixed set of frequency. Okay, let me repeat it again. Any action or thought that is repeated at a set frequency. So, what does this mean? We normally think of habits only as actions, right? I will go to the gym, I will sleep early. Those are actions. I know how to tie my shoelaces. Those are the actions. What we don't realize is that our emotions and our thoughts are also habits. If you wake up every morning and then say, oh my God, life sucks, today is going to be a horrible day, what's going to happen? It's going to turn into a horrible day. So the idea here is to realize that we have to move away from this. The idea here is to realize that even the thoughts that we have are habits, right? Do you ever think about this way, that your thoughts were also a habit? Now think about the kinds of thoughts that you have on a daily basis. Are they low negative thoughts? That means that you're having a lot of low negative habits. Are they high positive thoughts? That means you're having a lot of high positive habits. And the more positive thoughts that we can get, the more high energy thoughts that we can get, low self-esteem thoughts, exactly, right? All these are ultimately habits that we're getting in our own life. Okay, so I want us to even realize that these are things that we can change. It's not just about waking up early. It's not just about being more productive, but the thoughts as well. All right, lovely. Pankaj, can you put your hand down for a bit, and then we'll raise it when I ask you again. So that, yeah, perfect. Thank you. All right. So continuing, now that we know what a habit is, let's figure out how to create this habit. So we create a habit by following the 3 golden rules of habit change. All right. The 3 golden rules of habit change. The first golden rule of habit change is make it stupidly small. All right. Write it down in your book. Make it stupidly small. And I've chosen my words carefully here. Okay. I'm not just randomly said stupidly. I want you to make it so small that you feel stupid not doing it. All right. It should be so easy, so tiny that you feel stupid not doing it. This much also I could not do. Very often what we do is we try and give ourselves very, very big goals, big habits, right? If you're sleeping at 2 o'clock, now I'll suddenly say I'll start sleeping by 11 o'clock the next day. Too big a jump. If you're waking up at 8 o'clock, you'll say, I want to start waking up at 4 o'clock. Too big a jump. Instead, we have to make it so stupidly small. So let's continue with the yoga habit. Okay, so the yoga habit, remember the intention setting that mother said that I want to start yoga because I want to be able to play with my child. You remember that? Yeah. So I said, okay, how are you going to do this? So she said, I'm going to join a 1-hour yoga class. And I was like, don't do that. Instead, what I want you to do is I want you to make your yoga habit just to roll out the yoga mat on the floor. Just rolling out the yoga mat on the floor. Now, that is stupidly small, right? It is just putting it down on the floor. Now that you put it down on the floor, maybe you'll stand on it, maybe you'll sit, you'll do a namaste. Now, because of this, maybe you'll stretch. Now, because it's already out, maybe you'll do a Surya Namaskar or 2. But if I told you to do 1 hour, you would have said, maybe I don't have 1 hour time today, I'll do tomorrow. And that habit would never have formed. So if you learn to make these habits stupidly small, so small that it does not cause any, stress on your system or stress in the way that when you do it, that's the way in order to make these habits work. All right. So the first golden rule of habit change is make it stupidly small. Everyone write it down, put in the comments box, stupidly small. I want it to be stuck here. I want everyone to remember it, because whenever change that we make, I want this to be the first one that we all think about. Yeah, make it stupidly small. So stupid. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm so stupid I couldn't do it. That's the feeling. And if you still realize that you're not doing it, make it even smaller, make it even smaller, make it even smaller. All right. So first step, make it stupidly small. The second golden rule of habit change, any habit that you want to make has to have this second element, which is you have to make it extremely easy. Make it what? Extremely easy. All right. Now, I know at first glance, you'll be like, that sounds very much like stupidly small. What do you mean by make it extremely easy? All right. Extremely easy means that there should be no friction in the process. That means every time you make an excuse to do something, it's not extremely easy. If you can make an excuse to not do that habit, it is not extremely easy to do. Okay, so we are trying to remove all the friction from this process. We're going to try and remove all the unnecessary, the energy that is required to do this. My favorite example of this, continuing with the yoga example, is that lady had realized that she was keeping her yoga mat on top of a cupboard at the back, where she needed a stool to go and take it out every day before rolling it out on the floor. So now, if it's on top of a cupboard, don't you think it's going to be really difficult to go get every single day, roll it out? So it was not extremely easy. It was difficult to do. So, and as a result, what you have to do is you have to make your habits extremely easy. So I told her, why don't you keep your yoga mat right at the place where you're going to actually do it? So all you have to do is pick it up and roll it out. In the same way, I knew people who wanted to go for a run every morning or go for a morning walk, and their shoes were kept in some other cupboard, and they had to go out in there and get it. And we all know that whenever we want to exercise, the most difficult thing to do is what, put on our clothes and put on our shoes. Only after that do we actually go. The gymming part is the easy thing. Getting there is harder, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to break that getting there part. So all of it, the habits, you'll notice that it's all about that first step towards the habit. Because once you do that first step, then the rest of the habit flows, right? It almost as if it miraculously rolls into each other. So that is the way that we should start thinking about habits and the way that we are flowing them. All right, everyone with me? Right? What is the second golden rule of habit change? Second golden rule is make it extremely easy. Yes, extremely easy. So easy to do. So we've got the first golden rule, which is small. That means, first golden rule, stupidly small. Second golden rule, extremely easy. Third golden rule is never miss 2 days in a row. So the third golden rule is all about consistency. Like all of you have said, I start with full josh and then after a while it fizzles away. So the third golden rule is all about making sure that it is making sure that you build consistency. Never miss 2 days in a row. All right. Let me explain what this means. Say you did a new habit. Say like you want to start going for a walk every single day. Okay. Monday you went for a walk. Tuesday you went for a walk. But on Wednesday, you had to go for a party or you were late at work. You missed it. No problem. We are not robots. I'm not asking you to become a robot. I'm not asking you to become really hardcore on yourself. If you miss that day, perfectly fine. You've got the habits coach telling you, no problem, don't beat yourself up, don't feel guilty. But come what may, on Thursday, you make sure you do it. You will never miss 2 days in a row. Okay? You can do Thursday and miss Friday also, no problem. But you will never miss 2 days in a row. This is something that if you put in your head, consistency will become the easiest thing for you to do. Like, for example, during the lockdown, I wrote a book, right? While writing the book, I said that every day I have to write 700 words. Come what may, I never miss those 700 words. If I missed it on Wednesday, no problem. I just wrote it again on Thursday. So in that way, you realize that consistency is something that can be easily done. It is not something that we have to be hardcore. Because what happens when we're trying to be hardcore? What happens when we feel guilty about missing something? Our self-esteem goes down. And like you said, self-esteem is something that is so critical, so easily damaged, right? We feel guilty, we feel shame. I said I was going to do it, but I didn't end up doing it. I'm useless, I'm hopeless. I don't want any of those emotions to come and settle into you. I want you all to feel good. I want you all to feel alive with this. Okay? Making sense? Fantastic. All right. So in this way, we are going to now start thinking about the kinds of habits that we can create. How can we, make them stupidly small? How can we make them extremely easy? How can we make sure that we never miss 2 days in a row? So in order to never miss 2 days in a row, there's something else that I have to teach you, which is habit tracking. All right. All of us work in companies. All of our companies have trackers. They have systems and processes. Why do these companies have it? It's because whatever gets measured gets changed, right? So only if you measure what you're changing, can you actually see that change taking place. So the best and easiest way of doing this is to get either your pen and paper or a post-it note and keep it on your desk. Every time you do the habit, you just put a one line through it. On a day you don't do the habit, you put a 0. Now, what is the goal? Never get two zeros together, right? Never get two zeros together, because if you get two zeros together, you've broken the third golden rule of habit change. All right. So the whole idea is, how do we build consistency with this? And it's actually a very interesting idea on why we never miss 2 days in a row. If you miss 2 days in a row, you make missing the new habit. You make that excuse the new habit. And whatever it is that you were trying to make as a habit has now disappeared from your life. You see how powerful that is? Right? You don't want to become a master at excuses. Aren't we all masters at excuses? Right? We are all masters at making excuses. It's so simple to make an excuse. But in order to actually do it, we need to realize that we need to actually put what we decide to do into action. All right. So now, whatever it is that you were thinking about with your intention, think about how you can make it extremely small. All right. And write it down. What is the smallest possible action, or what is the smallest possible thought that I can do to make this change possible? All right. So, for example, we had, I want to start sleeping early, right? So, start sleeping early. What is the smallest thing I have to do? I have to sleep half an hour earlier than what I normally do. Fantastic. So, that is your stupidly small. Okay. I want to start investing. So what is the smallest thing that I need to do? I need to first start saving. Okay, so am I saving this amount of percentage of whatever I'm earning? So in that way, you get down to that stupidly small thing. And what we'll do in the Q&A section at the end of the workshop today, we'll open it up to whoever wants to share how they've actually broken down their habits into these 3. And I want to see how you're actually going to think about doing this. And then we will, take it forward from there. So keep it down. I will, and like how we did our, hot seat right now. I call it a hot seat. Even in my Habit Coach podcast, I have something called the hot seat episode, where people come in and ask a question. So we will have put you on the hot seat, and we'll actually take it as a fire. It's almost like one mini coaching session that will take place. Okay, so be tuned for that. We'll do it in the last half an hour of our conversation together. For how many days should I continue stupidly small habit before increase in size? Absolutely lovely question. So, as a habit coach, there are 2 questions I get asked all the time. The first question is, how do I get rid of bad habits? And I'm surprised nobody asked me that question up till now. Okay. So how do I get rid of bad habits? Always the first things people look at me and say, you should see how many bad habits I have. You'll be so proud of me. Okay. And they're all so proud of their bad habits. So that's the first question. The second question is, how long does it take to form a habit? Does it really take 21 days? So let's break that myth right now. It does not take 21 days to form a habit. I have never, ever, ever seen a habit form in 21 days or 90 days, because the way that my philosophy is that as you do a habit, it becomes easier and easier to do. So now if it's becoming easier to do, you have to grow along with it. Okay. So like you have grown, so the habit has to grow with you. Why has it become easier? It's become easier because you've become better. That means you have to make the habit a little bit more difficult. You become better, the habit becomes a little bit more difficult. So for example, for that mother, it was just rolling out the yoga mat and standing to be stupidly small. But for a yoga teacher, it might be doing 100 Surya Namaskars as her small habit, because she's already doing that every single day. She probably wants to get into the habit of practicing a handstand or something else, right? So in that way, you realize that we all start at a different level of whatever stupidly small habit that we have. Like I told you that I was writing a book and I used to write 700 words every day. 700 words is a lot of words. For most of us, that would be too hard to start off with. But I was already writing 700 words because of the podcast that I had. So for me, it was easy to transition writing a podcast to writing the book, which is why it made sense to create that as a stupidly small habit. So to answer your question, you have to continue growing the habit along with you as you grow. So if you realize that you are not managing to complete the habit, that means you've grown it too much. You bring it back down a little bit. All right. So that is the way to continue. Making sense? Perfect. All right. So I've got 5 different sections of habits that we will talk about. Why? Because I think these are things that all of us have a little bit of a difficulty in doing. So the first one many of you all said was weight loss, right? I saw so many weight loss, weight loss, weight loss, weight loss. I hope you'll have figured out your intention behind why you all want to do weight loss, right? Is it because you want to fit into a dress by the next Sunday for one party? That's a different reason, right? Is it something because you're worried about your health and you're worried that that you don't want to be a burden on anybody else as you grow older? That's a very different intention. So I hope you've got your intention setting down right. One of the biggest things that we think about when it comes to weight loss is our diet. Okay. And normally we try making a dramatic change in our diet. But the way that I like to think about changing habits from a diet point of view is to first get rid of all the junk in our life. Okay. To get rid of all the junk in our life. Why junk food is horrible for us? Junk food is terrible because, one, it is designed to be addictive. Just like some of you all wrote about how you're addicted to your phones, the same way junk food is designed to be addictive. About close to, I think, 70 years ago, all the major junk food companies got together and did a study and found out that there are three things that are needed to make any junk food uh, addictive. The first one is it has to be sweet. Second is it had to be salty. And third, it needs some form of fat in it. Okay. And if you notice, all the junk food that you are addicted to, love eating, falls into these three categories, right? Even like a bourbon biscuit is sweet, salty, and fat. Your potato wafers are sweet, salty, and fat. McDonald's, sweet, salty, and fat. You'll notice all of them have these three elements in it because these are three things that are constantly wiring up our mind saying, I want more, I want more, I want more. So junk food itself is something that if you start learning how to remove from your life, you will already start this process of losing weight. Okay. So how do we make this process of junk food out of our life extremely easy? Okay. We do this by not having it around. Normally what happens is that our house is full of chivda, fafda, potato chips, biscuits, chocolates. It's full. You go to somebody's what's it called? Refrigerator, open it, and the first things you will see are chocolates that are there inside. You go next to the dining table, and the first thing that you will see are all the the chivdas and all the junk food that is there. Why? Because it's out there. And because it's out there, every time we pass by, we see it and we want to eat it. Doesn't that happen to you? Right? If you're in your desk, if you open your drawer, probably you will find something that is junk food right there. Right? It is all around us. It is everywhere. And the only way we can get rid of this is by actually changing the environment around us. So the first thing I tell people to do is to take all the junk food that they have lying around, put it in a plastic bag. Okay. Especially if you're at home and doing this, all your Maggie, Waggy, all the stuff that was made in a plant, that was made, in a factory, put it in this big plastic bag and give it to your neighbor. Okay. Now, which neighbor do you give it to? You give it to that uncle that is always complaining about you, the one that is the annoying person, right? The uncle that you hate. You go and give all of this to them. Why? Because you're going to earn brownie points from them, and then also you're making them a little unhealthy in the process. No, so it's like a win-win situation that is taking place there. So you take this, give it to them, you win favors, and it's out of your life. Okay. But Kritika said, I always remove biscuits from my kitchen and then go to the market and get them again. There you go. Kritika, every time I tell people about junk food and, to move the soft drinks and all of them from your kitchen, everyone says, but what about if guests come? We must have something for them. And I was like, but you realize that it's poisoning you. You should not be poisoning your guests either, right? Like, why you want to give it to your guests? What if me and my neighbor are in the same Zoom call? This is going to be tricky, dude. How are we going to deal with that? If anybody gives you a big plastic bag full of junk, you know what they're thinking now. Okay, so now you figured it out. I just keep my biscuits inside my box. And I hope you put the box in a chavi and you give the chavi off to somebody else so that you can't reach your biscuits. But that's the thing about it, right? It is almost everywhere. It's so hard to get rid of junk food from our life. And if you manage that first step, I'm telling you, the rest of it is a breeze. Okay. In fact, Zomato is a very interesting example. I come to that. There's a very good habit that you can follow for Zomato orders, because I worked with a client on this. Okay. Let's finish junk food first. So instead of that, what I want you to do is either give your junk food away or hide it up on the top of a cupboard where you need a ladder to come and get it out every time. But then I want all your healthy snacks outside in front of you. So, if it is like a carrot steak or anything that you enjoy, you don't have to like the stuff that I like, but things that you enjoy eating that are still good for you. Almonds, pistachios, all the nuts that are good for you. Keep them out. You don't have to hide them away. If you like hummus, have hummus. Like, for example, if you're ordering stuff from Zomato and you're ordering healthy things from Zomato, you can actually keep them in the fridge and have them as food the next day or snacks the next day. So you can start making changes like that. Absolutely. Sprouts, you can make such a nice, tasty bhel out of sprouts that you don't necessarily need the bhel from the bhel bara outside. Okay. So you can start making these swaps with your food. It makes a big, big difference. I keep junk food in the kitchen out of fear of sudden midnight hungers. You will not get hungry in the middle of the night. Okay. This is a very interesting thing. Whenever we think of hunger, it is not actually hunger that is happening to us. It is one of three things. The first is you have to ask yourself, are you bored? If you're bored, you're normally hungry. Okay, because you're now thinking with your stomach brain. The second one is ask yourself, are you stressed? If you're stressed, again, you want to try and pacify yourself. For us, that is again eating. And then the third, ask yourself, am I thirsty? Like right now, my throat is parched, so I'm going to take a sip of water. In the same way, if you have a bottle of water, please take a sip of water, because very often we don't realize that our body is wanting water, but we think our body is wanting food. So always remember, figure out what it is that is making you hungry. It is either boredom or stress or thirst. Making sense? What are the three? What are the three? What are the three? Boredom, stress, or thirst. Hunger is something that should be in the past, because trust me, none of us have ever felt hungry. Okay? Even when you thought you had not eaten anything, you've never felt hungry. You've not known what starvation feels like. I've gone for 5 days without food and I've not felt hungry. Okay? I do strange things like that in order to test different kind of fasting theories, but we can probably do an entire video on fasting and the benefits of it later on. So in that way, what I want us to do is realize that hunger is not part of this equation. We should have foods that are good for us, that are easy to reach out for. Like we said, sprouts are fantastic. It's the craving of eating junk. It's that salty flavor, no, Kritika? That salty, sweet flavor is what gets to us. That is the problem, right? I want all of us to tell me what are the things that we find difficult when it comes to food, and why do we find it so hard to give up food? Because this is one of the big things. And what we don't realize is that when we have bad food habits or food habits that don't serve us properly, our energy levels through the day tank. If our energy levels are low, how can we continue working well? How can we be productive? How can we start thinking properly? You will notice that whenever you eat junk food, your brain slows down after a while, right? I remember when I was passing through my, the overweight stage, every time I was in a meeting room, they would have one bowl of chocolates, and I would constantly be attacking those chocolates, those sweets that they were there, Mentos or whatever it was at that point of time. I was craving that sugar. We need to get out of that. Okay. What I do now is, if there is a bowl like that, I put it at the other end of the table, so I'm not tempted by it. When someone offers us junk, it's hard to say no. No, it's actually very easy to say no. It is just two letters that you have to say. Okay, practice with me, everyone. N-O. Okay. Perfect. Right. Super. Next, what we have to do is we get into. So once we do is junk food is out. The next is, how do we prepare our morning time? Okay. So what do we do about our morning? Because when we control our morning, we control the rest of the day. All right. And I want this to settle in our minds. When we control the morning, we control the rest of our day. So I want you all to fiercely protect your mornings. Now, what I mean by that is, how do we normally wake up? We wake up with an alarm clock and then we hit snooze. How many of us hit snooze, 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 right? Hit snooze, then you go back to sleep, hit snooze again, go back to sleep, right? Very often we have 5 alarms, 6:41, 6:42, 6:43, 6:44, and it completely drives us banana. Exactly 3 alarms, right? So the point is that we wake up constantly in that state of, oh my God, I want more, I need more, I need more. what we need to do is realize that we have to wake up on the first go without snooze. I want all of us to make a promise today that we will never press snooze or we will never set a second alarm. How do we do this? We do this by keeping our alarm clock very far away from the bed and keep it next to the bathroom. Because as soon as you switch off the alarm, what I want you to do is I want you to go to the bathroom and splash water on your face. Chances are after splashing water on your face, you will not go back to sleep. Okay, so thanda pani, cold water on your face, splash it, and that's it. Okay, then you go to your hall or wherever else and you sit down on the sofa. You do not go back onto the bed after switching off the alarm. Why we do this? We do this so that we're not constantly in a state of rush afterwards. I know so many homes that start off the entire morning by saying, "We are running late. Quickly eat your food. Run around this. You don't have your clothes on. Where did I put this? Where did I put that?" Can you imagine the stress that you're in right in the morning? How is the rest of the day going to be better? How is the rest of the day going to be? Your mornings are the tone that you create for the rest of the day. For example, if you if you read the news in the morning, you're constantly setting up your brain for stress because there is no good news in the news today. It's only 34 people were killed, 75 people were raped, this happened there, there's one wildfire there, aliens have come and attacked us, right? There's constantly only bad news that is taking place. So if you have bad news coming into your morning right in the beginning, what's going to happen? If you have bad news coming in the morning, you are going to be constantly in this state of stress. Kritika says, I'm running after my kid in the morning, ready for school. This is the problem, right? Because we wake up for the child. Instead, Kritika, imagine if you woke up 45 minutes or half an hour earlier and you had that half an hour of me time. And the point of all of this is to give you your me time. Because I know that many of us live with families. We never get our alone time together, right? We never get the time that we can focus on our own self-development, where we can do our reading, where maybe we can do our meditation, maybe when we can do our gratitude journal, where we can write, we can plan our future. All that has to happen together, right? So I want us to plan that out very, very well. So if you wake up in the morning, like you said, go for a walk. If you wake up in the morning, go meditation. If you listen to the Habit Coach podcast every morning, that is a fantastic habit. I strongly recommend you all do that. Okay. So listen to the podcast, do something that is going to fuel your mind with positivity, do something that's going to fuel your mind with something that's going to give you energy instead of something that is going to drain your energy first thing in the morning. Okay. So the second habit that I want us to create is becoming fiercely protective of our morning. All right. Now, you might decide to do different things. You might decide to wake up just half an hour earlier and go for a walk. You might decide to wake up half an hour earlier and read a book that you've been wanting to read. Whatever it is, that I'm leaving up to you. But the emotion that you should feel after that morning is that I am now full of energy, ready to take on the day. It is not that I reach work tired. And I know many of us reach work tired. And imagine if we reach work tired, what's going to happen to the rest of the day? Okay. So we feel strong, we feel good. That is what I want all us to do. With me? Making sense? Good job. All right. Fantastic. So be fiercely protective of the day. Many times I wake up tired. I don't know why. Exactly. We'll talk about this because about the way we go to sleep. So in a Q&A, remember to ask me this. Okay. We'll have a nice long tagda Q&A. So make sure that you have all your questions ready for that. The third habit I want to talk about is called the Pomodoro technique. Okay. Are you familiar with the Pomodoro technique? Anyone's heard of it before? Pomodoro technique is a productivity technique for when we're at work. When we're at work, we normally end up, spending too much time full of distractions. The Pomodoro technique is all about how do we focus down on working only on one task at a time. One task at a time. So the technique is very simple. You set an alarm on your phone for 25 minutes. And for those 25 minutes, you're only doing one task. You're not doing multiple things. You focus on only one task. And when you finish that task, you take a 5-minute break. Then after that 5-minute break, you focus on the next task. So maybe one task might be just replying to all the emails that you get. Maybe one task might be just writing one particular report that you have to do. Whatever it is, you put that. Now, the clincher here is that there are 0 distractions that are allowed. That means your phone should be on airplane mode. Okay. That means if you are not replying to emails at that point of time, your email tab should be shut. You're only focusing on one thing. If you don't require the internet, you switch off the internet also. I'm saying it has to become that focused of work. And only if you do that, you become super ultra productive. If you right now look at your day, you will notice that you feel you're working a lot, but a lot is not getting done, right? When you actually are productive with the Pomodoro technique, you suddenly realize how much time you have. In fact, like I work only up till 11 o'clock in the morning. So I start my work day at 6 o'clock and I finish all my work by 11. After that, it's just time to meet people, go out, talk to people. So I finish my work in that way, a focused amount of time. Now, I know everyone can't do that. I'm lucky, but you can still use this Pomodoro technique in your office space so that you can focus on what needs to be done and finish it off. All right. Fantastic. The fourth one is what I think Kritika had talked about, which is scheduling. Okay. Now, this is something I want all of us to do as a habit. I constantly meet people who are overwhelmed with their day. Oh my God, there's so much happening. I don't know what to do. There's so much happening. I don't know what to do. They're overwhelmed. And what happens when they're overwhelmed? They run out of time. They constantly feel that they are being chased by a tiger and they're running out of it. So when you schedule your day, exactly, nothing gets done. When you schedule your day, you are creating time for everything that needs to be done. But now there's a trick. I can all give you a Google Calendar and say, "Ye bhar lo," fill it up. And you will do every half an hour, you'll have something new basis a Pomodoro technique and nothing will get done. There are tools and techniques here. What we have to do when we schedule our day is that we have to schedule it basis the energy level that we have at that particular time. Okay. So for me, my energy is highest in the morning. So what I do in the morning is I schedule all my creative thinking work in the morning. So I finish all my creative thinking work when my energy is the highest. Normally around 12 o'clock, what starts happening? You start thinking about what is there for lunch. You start noticing that your energy is starting to go down a little bit. So what do you do? So at that point of time, I set up all my meetings. So maybe I'll have a meeting with somebody at 12 o'clock. At around 3 o'clock, after lunch is when our batteries are typically very, very low. We're waiting for that afternoon or that evening chai to come and wake us up. At that point of time, what do? I do all the boring work, all the emails that I need to reply to, all the, the little forms that I need to fill up. Anything that is boring is when it gets done at that point of time. So what you do is you start scheduling your day according to your energy levels, according to how you know which energy levels are, and you will see a big, big difference in it. What I also want you to do is I also want you to start scheduling break periods, rest periods, periods of time when you're doing nothing. In fact, I write do nothing time. That means I sit and I look out the window. I sit and I look at the wall. I sit and just look at something random. Why? Because that is the time when actually your brain is processing all the things that have happened through the day. That is when your brain is processing the entire day and what has happened. So in this fashion, we end up having more energy through the day. You can plan a walk after lunch. So this way you can schedule your day better. Making sense? Yeah. So schedule according to energy. Don't schedule according to time. Don't schedule according to what is urgent. Schedule according to your energy levels at that point of time. And you always figure out automatically when your energy is high, when your energy is low. Some of us have the highest energy at night. Perfectly fine, no problem. Some of us have our highest energy during the morning. Perfect, no problem. Okay. So figure out what works for you and schedule according to that. The final habit that I want to share before we open up for our Q&A session, and I think we are doing well on time, perfect. What I want us to do is I want you to talk about, what I want us to do is I want us to figure out how can we bring movement through our day. Very often, even if we start an exercise habit, what happens is that habit continues for how long? It continues for 1 hour in a day. After that, you're still sitting down, you're working on your laptop, you're hunched over. Very often you notice that we're all sitting down like this. Even right now, sitting, talking to me, you'll notice that all of this is tight, right? What I want us to do is I want us to bring movement into the day. And I don't want you to start doing chair yoga and things like that. There are enough videos on that online. But what I have to do is you have to create a habit of this. And we create this habit by having 3 different workstations. Okay? We have 3 different workstations. So like this, we have one sitting workstation, Then you can have a standing desk. So you just put one, you either get standing desks like, which you can't see right now, but it's a desk that you can put up and you can put your laptop on and stand. You can put a few books and stand. So you are getting some movement in, because normally what happens when we are sitting is that the veins and arteries in our knees get compressed because they are sitting at this 90-degree angle. In fact, physiotherapists call it the 90, 90, and 90 degrees. That means our feet are at 90 degrees, our knees are at 90 degrees, and our hips are at 90 degrees. If you look at yourself right now, you'll see it. And whenever our bodies are at that 90 degrees, it means that all the nerves are being pressed. And these three places are actually where all the blood clots start because of the way that we're constantly sitting. So in order to get out of that, we need to bring movement. So the first thing we do is we have a sitting desk, we have a standing desk, and then we have a lounging desk. Okay. What is a lounging desk? Most of our offices have a sofa, right? You'll have a sofa in the corner somewhere, or you'll have a different kind of chair. What I want you to do is I want you to sit on that sofa for an hour a day. Why? Because when you're sitting on the sofa, your knees are not necessarily in the 90 position. You can stretch them out. Your back is slightly a little bit more at a different angle. So in this way, you're bringing different forms of movement. You can carry your laptop, you can continue working there, but you have brought in different movement patterns into it. If you want to be very advanced, some of my clients do this, which is that they take all their work phone calls while walking. So they never sit at the desks and they take a call. They're always walking and taking a call. Even Zoom calls, they normally stand up and take the Zoom calls, because all you have to do is push the laptop down and the webcam comes up. So you can even do that. Some of y'all, if y'all are listening to me right now and want to stand, please go ahead and stand. No issues. Just understand that movement is the key. Like how we talk about nutrition for our body, how we talk about the junk food, eliminating it. Sitting is like that. Sitting is junk food that we're eliminating, and we're bringing all different kinds of movement into our body. Okay? Is it making sense? Right? So the 5 aspects that I wanted to bring about right now. The first one was junk food, how to get rid of it. The second one was how to fiercely protect the morning routine. The third was the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of focused work, 5 minutes break. 25 minutes focused work, 5 minutes break. Then we had scheduling, how to schedule correctly, basis your energy, not basis your time. And the third one was how to have 3 different workstations or a walking workstation so that you can actually get movement into your day. All right. Try putting these into practice and you'll already see a big change in the way that your life is moving. Then you'll remember the golden rules of habit change. I'm doing a recap before we start our question answer session. You remember the golden rules of habit change? Make it stupidly small, make it extremely easy, and never miss 2 days in a row. If you do this, there is no way that you will not make that change take place. It's going to be easy. It's going to be like makhan for all of us. All right. And makhan's good for us. Okay. It's not one of the junk food things. And then we come into the creating our intention. So we ask why 3 times. So we come to that intention. Fantastic. Now let's open it up for questions. Shiva, we good on time?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, fantastic. So we have, I think, about half an hour or more. I'm here at your disposal. You can take as much time as you want of mine. Let us ask questions. Let's make it interactive. Let's have a blast. Whatever it is that y'all have been struggling with, ask me. You can put your hand up. We can put you on the screen and we can have a mini coaching session right here and there.
Sure. And Ashdin, one more thing I wanted to mention here is while we are doing all the question and answers, I am also going to put up a poll for all the audience to give us a feedback on the session and what do they feel about it. And it'll also help us curate more sessions like this going forward. Right.
Fantastic.
So I'm launching a poll right now. Everyone on the session today, please take a minute or so to give us this feedback. And then we're also starting up with the Q&A. So we have some questions popped up in the chat box.
It says host and panelists cannot vote. I was about to give myself full marks. What, yeah. All right, lovely.
Okay. So Abhishek Mohanty has a question, Ashdin, that why I wake up tired in the morning, have restless thoughts going in my mind, even I'm feeling sleepy in night.
Lovely. So if you're having restless thoughts, um, very often we lie down in bed and we look at the ceiling and we start thinking that we want to sleep, but we only see all our thoughts running past. Then we see the little cracks in the ceiling, the little cracks in our life, and all the problems that are there suddenly come up in our mind. The reason this happens is because we don't listen to our mind throughout the day. Through the day, our mind is constantly trying to bring our attention to these things, but we distracted by watching Netflix, or we distracted by eating, or we distracted by doing something else. So we never really focus on what our body is trying to tell us or what our mind is trying to tell us. So now when it finally found a Shanti spot, what is a Shanti spot? 10 in the night, 12 in the night, when you are finally trying to go to sleep, it tries telling you everything. Can you imagine if you had a friend, and every time you wanted to tell something to that friend, the friend interrupted you halfway through? How frustrated you would feel. It's the same thing that is happening to the mind. The mind is feeling super frustrated. So as a result, what happens is that we feel restless at night. We can't sleep. Then many of you all have the question about, I wake up in the morning feeling tired. There are two reasons we wake up in the morning feeling tired. The first reason is that we haven't set our alarm properly. Now, all of us sleep in 90-minute cycles. Okay. So think of it as 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes. If we wake up in between the 90-minute cycle, we wake up dull, we wake up tired because we were in a deep sleep and the alarm rang. Okay. If we can understand this and we change and curate our timing so that we don't wake up in between. So, for example, if you want to sleep at, say, 12 o'clock in the night, don't wake up at 5:30 or don't wake up at 7, right? See 90-minute times. So 90 minutes would be 1:30, then 3 o'clock, then 4:30, then 6 o'clock, then 7:30. So if you sleep at 12, wake up at 7:30 or wake up at 6 o'clock. Don't wake up in between the two. All right. So choose this 90-minute timing. Make a calculation before going to bed. That's something that I do every single time so that I know I wake up fresh and not in that sleepy state. That is the first one. The second is that normally what we do is we think that we need to be tired in order to get sleep, right? We feel that our eyes need to be so tired that they're falling asleep and only then we get sleep. But the truth is that we feel sleepy or we get the best quality sleep when we are full of energy. All right. We feel the best sleep when we are full of energy and not when we are tired. Because when we are full of energy is when our body, when we are sleeping is when our body is the most busy. It is doing all the cellular cleanup. It is getting rid of all the toxins. Whatever is damaged is being repaired, right? All our brain is being cleaned. So we have something called cerebrospinal fluid, which goes through the brain, circulates it, and cleans out the brain every night during our deep sleep cycles. So if we don't have that, we wake up with this foggy brain because our body hasn't gone through those cleaning processes. So we wake up tired because now the body's used up all the energy at night, and hence in the morning we don't have any left. So this is a very, very interesting question. Try going to sleep full of energy. Don't try going to sleep tired. The way to get rid of all those thoughts that are running through your head is something called free flow journaling. Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to take a book every day and I want you to write down, and I want you to set a timer for 10 minutes. And for 10 minutes, I want you to write down every single thought that is coming through your mind. Just randomly, free flow. Why is this Ashdin making me write this? I feel so stupid writing. I remember the last time I was writing, I was in school. Oh, I wonder what happened to my best friend in school. Remember that bully that was there. Whatever's coming in your mind, you will notice slowly gets flushed out on the paper. And when your thoughts have come onto the paper, it will no longer haunt you at night. Okay. So do this free flow journaling. If you have a lot of these random thoughts coming, it will really remove it from your mind. Fantastic. All right, Shiva, next question is...
Yes, sir. So next question is from Sayan. It says, sometimes we get biased on the outcomes and setbacks. For example, if we plan to do a 30 push-ups and we are unable to accomplish it, or let's say if we incur a loss while we trade, in these cases, we often get demotivated and want to discontinue. So how do you bounce back on these three cases?
So the point is that you probably gave yourself a goal that was a little too hard to do at that point of time. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that, you have a goal, but don't get attached to the goal, get attached to the process of achieving that goal. Right? So don't look for that goal and achieving it, look for the process. So fall in love with the process of doing the push-ups, fall in love with the process of doing the exercise, and surely, slowly over a period of time, those 30 push-ups will happen. They'll have to happen. There's no way it can't if you build that consistency. But if you're constantly waiting for those 30 push-ups to happen, it is when you will feel demotivated. And remember, the word motivation comes in the word demotivated. So you got your answer right there. Because do you remember what we said right in the beginning? Who's going to type it out? What did we say about motivation? Motivation sucks. Exactly. So motivation is horrible. The number one reason for feeling demotivated is relying on motivation. So no demotivation, no motivation. Okay, I feel mobile phones are dominating my day. I want to get out of it. The total time usage, personal, official purpose is increasing now. It disturbs my night sleep. Absolutely. Jennifer, you hit the nail on the head. There are 2-3 things that you can do about mobile phones. The first is that always put your mobile phone in the screen, the eye saver mode. So all our phones have this eye saver mode where, or night shift it is called, where a brown filter comes on top of the screen, right? It's a digital filter that comes on top of the screen. This helps eye strain. So make sure that you have it running throughout in the evenings for sure, during the day also if you want. The second thing that you can do about phone addiction is keep your phone in a drawer. Don't keep your phone on your person. Okay. Now, I know many of you will say, but my job entitles me to constantly be online, constantly be on the phone. Then I'm sorry, you don't have an option there. But when you're back at home, take your phone and keep it in a drawer. Or take your phone and give it to somebody in your house saying that when I need it, give it to me. But don't keep it on your person at all times. And the last thing I want to say about mobile phones is that do not feel guilty for being addicted to mobile phones. They were designed to make you addicted to them. Okay. It's like someone has been feeding you cocaine all this while, and now suddenly you feel guilty that you're addicted to cocaine. No, the phone was designed to be addictive. And we have to constantly use effort to wean ourselves away from it. So don't feel guilty about it, Jennifer. I know I'm also addicted to my phone. It's one of my habits that I'm constantly trying to break. But alas, it is designed to be addictive. So we have to be a little compassionate with ourselves when it comes to that. All right. What are the other questions that were coming up? Dharam said that being tired helps get to sleep fast. No, it does not, including alcohol. Every time you have alcohol, we think it goes to sleep fast, right? Like we think, I'll have a little alcohol and I must sleep, I will get. Completely wrong. What happens is that alcohol actually wakes you up at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. And you will always notice this. Whenever you've had alcohol, you'll wake up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. because the body is at that point of time trying to cycle it out of the system. So you wake up. In the same way, energy, whenever you're tired, your body needs energy to sleep because, like I said, it's one of the busiest times for the body. So don't think about tiredness and sleep. We used to say that for children, that I'm going to tire him out so that he goes to sleep. As adults, think about it as I am going to sleep because I'm enjoying this and I want to shut down my body. I want to give my body rest. And allowing your body to rest, I think, is a very, very interesting habit for all of us to create in our life. Fantastic. Guys, keep asking more questions. Anyone wants to come onto the hot seat, put your hand up and we'll get you up on the hot seat.
I think we have Pankaj already on the hot seat, Ashton.
Fantastic. Pankaj, do you want to
unmute yourself and if you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, others in the participants also can raise your hand. I can bring you to the panel to ask your question. In the meanwhile, I think there's a question in the chat box from Jennifer James. Did we answer that?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
The mobile phone question we answered. There are also Q&As that have popped up here.
Yes.
Anything there? Will you just take a look at the Q&A, Shiva? Then I'll answer Sandeep's question. Should we go to sleep on an empty stomach? So Sandeep, empty stomach actually is a good way for us to go to sleep because, like I said, it is not hunger that we are constantly fighting. It is thirst or boredom that we are fighting. So in fact, I eat my food at 6 o'clock and I sleep at around 10, 11. So that is as empty stomach as you can get, right? So you don't need to have that snack just before going to sleep. It is all a marketing gimmick, right? It is all something that we've been fed But actually, we should not be feeding ourselves so much. We should be eating much, much lesser than we actually do.
Yeah. We have one question, Ashdin, that it's an anonymous attendee. Do
Okay.
you suggest any habits for removing fears or phobia?
So fears, yes. Phobias, no. Okay. Phobias are more psychological in nature. You might have to either do like hypnotherapy or some of the other modalities. Fears are nothing but you can address fears by logic. Okay. So let me explain this to you. It's quite interesting. You should always think of fears as emotions that you cannot control about the future. Notice that you'll always be fearful about things that are going to happen in the future. And the acronym for fear is false evidence appears real. FEAR. False evidence appears real. That means we are in our minds looking at the future and expecting it to be bad for us. We're looking at the future and thinking that this is going to happen only. But how many times have we been so scared of something and it has never really taken place? It has never really happened, right? It is because it was false evidence that we were looking at. So the way to combat fear is through logic. So whenever you have a fearful thought, ask yourself these few questions. The first one is there any truth to this statement? Half the time, that question, when you ask, is there any truth to this statement, the statement will disappear. Because you're like, actually, there's no truth to this. I don't know why I was dreaming this up. Maybe it's just my mind. So you attack it with logic. The second thing you ask yourself is, can I do anything about this? Right? If you can do something about it, do something about it. If there's nothing that you can do about it, why worry? And the third question you ask yourself is, what is the worst thing that can happen from this? What is the worst that can happen? Right? And then you make peace with what is the worst that can happen. What is the worst that can happen? I will lose 1,000 rupees. Okay, fine, let it go. 1,000 rupees donation. Chale kya? What is the worst that can happen? I will have to work extra next weekend. No problem. But otherwise, that fear is constantly haunting you. And unless we get over the fear by using logic, we will be stuck in these emotions. Right? Shivam, that made sense to you?
Yes, absolutely. And then we have another. Did we answer this question about being creative between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m.?
No, tell me about that. Where's the question?
So Mohammad Adnan says, my brain is very creative between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. I don't know how to wake up early when each day I'm sleeping late.
Fantastic. So, Mama, this is exactly what I was talking about that day. Not that day, right? Earlier on, saying that not everyone needs to wake up at 5 a.m. Okay, it's a fallacy. Some of us are night people. We find our creative energy at night. We find that's the time when we are alone with our thoughts. We can actually do our best work. So use that time and wake up late. It is perfectly fine. Now, I know you'll say, but if I wake up late, what about my family? What about work, etc.? So you have to find a balance. But what I want you to drill into your head is that you don't need to feel guilty for waking up late. Instead, what I want you to do is I want you to double down and use that night time productively. Okay, so at 10 o'clock, sit down and actually finish your work. 12 o'clock, get as much work in as possible. I used to be a nighttime person. Now I'm a morning person. I changed because I found the morning was a very good time for me now. You have to figure what is working for you and use that. Okay. But what I mean is at night you work. It is not that at night you are sitting and watching Netflix. Okay. That is not the same thing. You're creative at night, work at night.
Great. That's an amazing answer. I do the same.
You're a night person, Shiva?
Yes, absolutely. I go to bed at 1:32 in the night and sort of wake up at 7:30. Some of my best work can come at that time.
Exactly. And don't lose that just because of, somebody writing a book saying wake up at 4 a.m.
Correct. So I will take the next question from Mustafa Sadiq, who's saying, one small argument or a bad thing that happens during the day screws up the entire day and also the night. Can't sleep through with it, and different solutions are bring in front of you while you can't do anything about it. How to manage ourselves in such situations?
So you follow the similar pattern for the fears bit, right? Normally, when something bad has happened in the past, we are worrying about what is that effect going to happen in the future. So you had an argument. Say you had an argument with your wife before leaving the house and going to work, right? That argument will continue to play in your head. You are constantly in the fear of what is going to happen by the time you come back, right? So you make peace with that argument is going to continue, etc., etc. The second thing you do is you change your mindset. So you understood the fear part, right? Remember, what is the worst thing that can happen? What is there any truth to this? And is there anything I can do about this? So you ask those three things, get rid of the fear. But what you do is you change your mood for the now, here and now. And you do this by snapping your outer self, saying, okay, that has happened. There is nothing I can do to get that time back. But now I want to make the most of the day. You can either write and get out the emotions on a piece of paper. You can play music. If you are a person who likes dancing, just dance around. If you're a person who needs vigorous exercise, just do a few jumping jacks. If you do a few running in space, get that energy that is stuck in your body out of you. And then you continue with work. Because I know exactly what you're saying. I have had this one fight during the day, one angry email that comes in the morning, and the rest of the day is gone for a toss. What you have to do is you have to calm yourself down. You have to look at it and say, am I in danger? Is my job in danger? Is my life in danger? Is anything in danger? Nothing is in danger. Okay, great. Then you hold your chest and do your breathing exercise. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold that for 4 seconds. And you continue doing this 4 second, 4 second, 4 second, which is called a box breath, till you start feeling calm. And then you come into the rest of the day. But do not ever try carrying that energy into whatever it is that you're going to be doing afterwards. That is just a recipe for disaster.
Great. Ashton, we have another question I think is important to answer. This is from Harleen Kaur. She says, I take a lot of stress for everything. Meditation is also irritating for me.
I love it.
To have an empty mind concentrating on breathe. That's the problem.
Okay, lovely. Harleen, now understand that whenever we think of meditation, we have only been taught one thing, which is empty mind, empty mind, empty mind. Meditation is not empty mind. Okay. There are different kinds of meditation. So the first kind of meditation is what I taught you, which is free flow journaling. Journaling is also a form of meditation because what you're doing is you're looking at the thoughts that are running through your head. So Harleen, the best place for you to start is set a timer for 10 minutes and just write down all the thoughts that are running in your head. Okay. The second kind of meditation is mindfulness meditation, which is what we are normally calling, sitting down and having no thoughts, which is, when you use apps like Headspace or Calm or any of those, right? Those I would suggest that you do, but understand it's not about having an empty mind. It is about observing the thoughts that are running through. So Harleen, what I would say is that when you're closing your eyes and you're meditating, imagine all the thoughts running past like a river, and it is just flowing past you. You are not associating yourself with those thoughts. You are not encouraging those thoughts. You're not judging those thoughts as good thoughts or bad thoughts. You're not saying, I need to change that. I need to remember to do that. You're just observing the thoughts and they're going past and saying, oh, okay, interesting, 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 interesting. So instead of having an empty mind, you are having a calm mind because you're not reacting to what is taking place. And that, I think, is a better form of meditation than just thinking empty mind, empty mind.
Great. On that note, I would also take this opportunity to tell everyone that we have a daily guided mindfulness session that happens from Monday to Friday for 15 minutes. We discuss on a lot of topics that are around us with a live trainer. So just a link to register for the same in the comments. And I want to go to a next question from Vibor, who's saying, how to keep yourself motivated, productive in long term. We work hard, but then after a few days, we start feeling stressed or low on energy. How can we fix this?
Okay, now, if you're still using the word motivated after listening to this whole conversation, you need what I call, especially if you follow me on Instagram, everyone who asks a question like this, they get a fatka. Okay, because they're like, I've just been saying, don't use motivation. Motivation sucks. The reason why you're not being able to do something is because of motivation. In fact, there's a whole masterclass that I've created on creating habits. That's on our app. I'll probably put a link for that so they can download it as well, so that you can create this for yourself. So it's something that you follow through. Very often we start something and then we never follow through on it because we are so motivated to do something. We make it hard for ourselves. Instead, learn the way of getting it into our habits. Wait, let me put the link. Guys, get the app. There are lots of workshops, there are lots of courses on it. Check it out. Check out the podcast. All of this is just fuel for you so that you can continue this journey. It doesn't have to end with this workshop. You can continue talking. So click on this. This link will have access to all the things that I do, the YouTube channel, the podcast, the website, the apps. Get it. And let's continue our conversation on this because it's so important. In fact, like so many questions in the mornings coming here, we have an entire program on how to create your perfect morning. Okay. And I think we can also give you a discount code. Let's put a discount code called Small Habits. Okay, use that discount code till I think Monday, and then you can get a 30% discount on all the courses. Just use it. Feel free to. Ultimately, it's all best for you. Okay, so if you try to struggle with your mornings, use this, and I think that'll be great. All right. What other questions do we have?
So there's
Procrastination.
a question from anonymous attendee again.
Hmm.
Please suggest something on de-stressing. Nowadays, many youngsters are feeling stressful about the things like not getting married on time and so on and so forth.
So in fact, Shiva, we should do a workshop on de-stressing. Okay, I normally do an entire 90-minute workshop on it because there are three kinds of stressors that exist. There are chronic stressors, which are things that have happened in the past that are weighing heavy on our mind. Like normally these are all, the family problems that we have. So all this not getting married and all, heavy things that weigh on our mind that we feel are draining our energy. We have, small, what are called, so those are first ones are called chronic stressors. Then we have acute stressors. Acute stressors are that angry mail that came from your boss in the morning that suddenly threw your day for a toss. How to deal with that? And then the third one are mind worms, which are those continuous thoughts of stress that keep running through our mind. Those are called mind worms. And addressing each of these three is, I think, a long discussion in themselves, almost half an hour each. So maybe we'll do another session on that because understanding stress is very important. But let me still give you a little bit of value here. Understand that all stress is nothing but your reaction to an outside situation. So it is not the situation that has stressed you, but it is your reaction to that situation that has stressed you. Okay. If you get an angry mail from a boss, you can look at that mail and say, oh no, I screwed up. Or you can look at the mail and say, thank you for sending this to me. I did not know that this is something that I need to work on. You can take it as feedback or you can take it as, oh God, I screwed up. But you can understand how to see the world differently, and hence the stress can come or stress can go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we also have a couple of questions on how to handle procrastination. I think procrastination and stress are proportional to each other, is what Nitin Joshi is saying.
Love it. Okay. So procrastination is all about asking yourself two questions. Okay. What am I scared of? And what am I protecting myself from? Very often what we do is when we procrastinate, we do this because we are scared of something. I had to do this workshop, so I procrastinated preparing for it. And then finally I prepared last minute and I did it. Right? Why? Because I was protecting myself from that emotions that what if this person asks me this? What if that happens there? I was protecting myself from it. Okay. I could also say I just prepared last minute, so it didn't turn out too well. You can always come up with those kind of excuses. And we do that for our presentations all the time. Right? I'm sorry, I ran out of time for this. Right? But that's actually not true. You didn't run out of time. You had enough time. It's just that you are trying to protect yourself from either the fear of public speaking or the fear of, spending too much time on it. We also procrastinate when things are too easy to do. So we say, it's so easy, I'll do it right at the end, no problem. Or we procrastinate when things are too difficult to do. We look at it and say, oh my God, how am I supposed to answer 300 emails? Screw it, I won't do the 300 emails. Right? We procrastinate on it. So either when something's too easy, when something's too difficult. When something's too easy, what you do is called precrastination. You do it beforehand, so you don't have to worry about it. When something is too difficult, what you do is you do breaking it up into smaller bits, and then you attack those smaller bits and you schedule them in. So that way you take care of procrastination.
Great answers, Ashton. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
think that's it from the Q&A side. I don't see any more questions. Last call for people who want to interact with Ashton directly. You can raise your hand. I can move you to the panel. So now or never offer.
Now or never. And guys, you can continue to have a conversation. Follow me on Instagram, send me messages, send me mails. I'm very, very active. So let's not just end it here. Let's continue our conversation. I loved chatting with all of you all. I'm seeing the comment boxes. Makes me feel so good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
As in, one last thing, I think Rupa has termed a new word, which is mind war stress.
What?
Can
Where is that?
in the
Is it
chat
you?
box itself,
Hmm.
what is mind war stress?
What is mind war stress? What is that? I think we should ask her. I, mind war stress. Let me see. Where is that? What is mind war stress? Mind worms, not mind wars. Mind worms are those small thoughts that keep going around and eating your brain like a little worm running around. Cut, 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 cut. Like for example, when you're at a party and you suddenly heard a friend of yours say, that Ashdin, he's so stupid. And then the rest of the evening, you're wondering, why did that friend call me stupid? The next morning, you're having a bath and you're saying, why did that friend call me stupid? You're driving to work and you're thinking, why did that friend call me stupid? And then it's you making it bigger and bigger in your mind throughout. That is what is called a mind worm. So how do you get rid of those mind worms is one of the critical things.
I think there's one more question from Dharm Panchal. He's saying how to be not lazy. I generally find myself consciously not doing things which I know are important just because I don't feel like turning off TV or getting up from my chair. This is really affecting my psychological and physical health. Please help guide how to overcome laziness.
So there is no such thing as laziness. Okay. The example I give is of my dogs on the farm. Okay. My dogs on the farm are constantly on the porch lazing, looking like this. Something, one breeze will come, they'll put their head up, they'll yawn, and they'll put their head again. It is their version of our Netflix. Okay. So they're constantly doing that. But what happens is that when they suddenly see a cow that has entered, they jump up and they start barking and then they go after it with their full josh and everything. So where did that energy come from? Right? Think of every time we had an exam when we were in school, we were lazy till the last minute, then suddenly we got energy and we did it. The point is that you're not lazy. The point is that you have not found something worth getting out of the sofa for. That dog found the cow something to get out of the sofa for and bark. You haven't found something worth it, right? You have not given that much importance to either a passion project in your life or the work. So hence you feel that I need to be on the sofa. This is the best thing that I can do right now for myself. So there is no such thing as lazy. It is just that you haven't found something that is worth doing.
That's a great answer. That's a very good perspective.
Thank you.
Laziness. And the last question for the evening, Niyai, if I spelled your name right, Niyai, you can unmute yourself. I see your hand raised and ask your question. Niyai Arora.
Hi, it is Niyati Arora.
Oh, Niyati, okay. It shows that Niyai. Huh?
So thank you so much for the time. It's so interesting session. I keep on attending such sessions, but this was little different this time. So my question here is, we have set of goals always like, professional, personal, spiritual. And of course, we want to come to a level wherein we're going to look best nowadays. So how to juggle between all these goals and this 24 hours wherein professional life takes most of the time. We have weekends, but at the same time on weekends, we feel like to laze around. We want to give us me time. So how to achieve the targets at the end?
Niyati, there's so much to do, no? There's just so much to do and so little time. Actually, you know what, Niyati, it is not time that's the problem. We keep looking at time as the issue that we're constantly fighting, that 24 hours of the clock that's running. It's actually, we don't have the energy to do everything, right? After a while,
I feel it's like a fight between you and the goals.
Correct,
It's all
absolutely.
the fight between you and the goals.
So the trick is to not make more than 3 changes at a time. So even though, you might go to the Habit Coach podcast and realize there are 740 episodes out there. Like really, there's 750 episodes that you can listen to. I don't want you to make 750 changes. I want you to only choose 3 changes to make at a time. So maybe just focus one habit on your fitness, one habit on your productivity at work, one habit on a relationship, right? So maybe for a relationship, it could be that I will send one gratitude message to a friend or family every day. For your workout, it could be just like I said, where I'm just going to put on my exercise shoes every day. For your, like you said, your physical fitness. For your work, it could be that I'm just going to schedule my day in the morning every day. Just 3 habits. And you will see that once they become a part of your life, you will then add something new to it. And that way, Niyati, you can actually make a change.
Let's try it. Thanks so much.
You got this. Just 3 things, okay, Niyati?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Great. So that brings us to the end of the session today. Thank you so much, Ashdin, once again for choosing to do this webinar for us. And it was a wonderful session. There are a lot of takeaways from the session personally for me. And I'm guessing that it'll be the same with all the participants that we have today. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the participants who joined the session today. I hope you start taking up habits, you form some habits, and you grow them as you grow along, right? Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. I'm loving seeing the comments. Thank you. Shiva, thank you for this opportunity. Absolutely brilliant.
My pleasure.
Bye, guys. Reach out to me. Let's continue this conversation, okay? This is not bye-bye. This is till we meet again.
Yes.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.